Hello, my friend, and welcome to Security hosted by me, Johnny Seifert. This is a celebrity mental health podcast where I say it's okay to not be okay. And if you have the same mind to me, whether you're watching or listening, click that follow button. And on social media, you can find me on TikTok at Johnny Seifert92 and on Instagram at Johnny Seifert at Security Podcast. And my guest today, you heard from her daughter Francesca back in 2021 and her best friend and my close friend Dawn Maud many times on Security Insecure in the past. But now, for the 19th season of the show, lucky for some, her 13th underway, of the Real Housewives of Cheshire on ITVX and ITV2, I'm delighted to tell her mental health journey. Please welcome mum of five and owner of the Beyond Beautiful Wellness Clinic. It's Rachel Lugo. Hello, Rachel.
Hi, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you doing?
Yeah, great, thank you.
I want to get to know about you because what I find with the Cheshire and the Housewives franchise is you kind of come as a unit, and it doesn't matter which series you come in, it's like, here's the latest girls. And you don't really get to actually understand why people are the way they are, and especially on a show like that, which can be seen, quote unquote, quite toxic. So let's go back to the beginning, to the 1970s, and talk about you, Rachel, growing up in Cheshire. What was your childhood like?
My childhood was amazing until I was 8 years old. We lived in Cheshire. I went to the convent school. I was taught by nuns. We had a fantastic lifestyle, holiday homes. It was idyllic. It was wonderful. And then from 8 onwards, my father bought my mum a villa in Spain for her birthday present. And we started going out there a lot more, and she met someone who was American, and she fell in love with him, and she moved to America when I was 9, and that was really tough.
And you've got 3 sisters?
I've got 3 sisters. I've got 2 from that we share the same mum and dad, and then 1 that lives in America from my mum's second marriage.
So how did you find navigating that? You know, you're coming towards the end of primary school, and everyone's still, especially in the 70s and the 80s, in a nuclear family. It wasn't really normal for that to happen. So how did you find navigating school when that happened? And also, especially from nuns who would be very one way about what relationships should be like.
It was even less normal, the fact that 3 girls were with their father and not their mum. It wasn't really dads at the time, it wasn't really heard of that they would get custody of 3 girls and we would live with our father. But the nuns were really, really supportive. They were amazing. They didn't judge. They just really helped look after us. They were fantastic, really supportive.
And at that age, when your mum has done that, how do you look at female role models in life back then and also now? Because that was the first person that you saw as your role model. And then there's that fear of abandonment that she's left you because she's found a better life. And, well, what about me? I don't know how to comprehend this.
Yeah. My mum was a stay-at-home mum, a housewife. So to go from that to then not having that in the house at all, myself and my 2 sisters really lent on each other. We grew up very quickly. We had to. My father was an alcoholic, and we tried to hide that from a lot of people because we didn't want to be taken away from him. It was difficult, and I still face these issues of rejection. I think that's why people comment on the show that I'm cold and frosty. I have a fear of opening up to people and them meaning so much to me and then leaving my life. It's taken me forward what happened that day when I begged her not to leave and she just left. It still saddens me to this day.
Did you have therapy at that age?
No, I probably should have. We spoke to people. There was people that spoke to us to do with the courts more so about how we were feeling and did we want to go and live in America or did we want to stay in the UK, but not proper therapy.
Do you wish you had it though? Because at that age, and especially as you're a mum now and you're going to be a grandma as well, that as the children grow up and we look more at mental health of when some things are so impactful and like you say, it affects you now 40 years later, but also there's elements that will trigger you that you won't even realise till years and years later.
I like who I am as a person. I know I have my struggles and I know, but the thing is I can understand why I have them and I know why I think that way. We have a psych test on the show before and after, and I'm really open with those. And they always say, Rachel, you really do have a good understanding of why you feel how you feel. So I do. I still think I'd have struggled with or without therapy, the fact that there was no mum in the house anymore.
So that was when you were 8, 9 years old. Age 22, you then become a mum for the first time. But also that thing of, obviously you're growing up to become an adult, but in those 10 years, something in your brain went, I've got to start again now. And then you go and have 5 children quite quickly afterwards and create this massive family unit. Do you think you were trying to replace the childhood you wish you had had, or did it just happen that you enjoyed having a bit of sexual intercourse and you just had loads of
It
children as a
wasn't
result of
that.
that?
It wasn't that at all. I had a great childhood still. You know, I have fantastic memories, and my dad tried his best. I don't look back and think, God, that was awful. It wasn't. But what I craved more than anything was unconditional love. Someone that wouldn't leave me, couldn't leave me. And that's why people that knew me from school, you were the last person that we thought would start having a family young. And it's all I wanted. I craved to be a mum and have that. It was unconditional love. Selfishly, I wanted that.
What does unconditional love mean to you, though?
To me, it means somebody that loves me through all my faults, the love that runs so deep, they will never want to leave. I get to this. Yeah.
Have you had fallings out with your children in the past, though, where not that
No.
they're going to leave, but even an
No.
argument so you never argue?
We've had minor arguments. My children, I don't know how I've been so blessed, are so respectful of me. I say to the housewives and things, I've never heard my children swear. I think because they know I take things to heart from people that I really love. I've never had times where I've been despairing over my children. They're just all great kids. I don't know how I've got so lucky.
What about friendships? How have you found having friendships with that unconditional love? Because friends come and go for a moment, a life, a season, a lifetime. But
Yeah.
how do you deal when friendships come to an end, or where people start drifting? Because if you're becoming a mum in your mid 20s and everyone's gone through university and they're trying to get their first jobs, and yet you're a stay-at-home mum and you're having children, and most people would be 10 years older than you, so naturally you're going to age up, but therefore
Yeah.
your friends who you're at school with are going to probably drift a little bit because you've got different
Yeah.
life stages. How did you deal with that?
So I wasn't actually a stay-at-home mum. I had a team of 100 people that I worked for American Express and then Carlton Bagnalley Travel. I didn't give up working until I had my third child. So I was still very much around a lot of people. But as far as friendships, the people that mean a lot to me are still in my life. The people that drift, I've drifted or they've drifted for a reason, but it's never been heartbreak over that because I don't open up to very many people. And if some people want to drift, drifting goes slowly and it's a lot easier than them just leaving your life. I'm not the best at reaching out to my friends, arranging things. And that's again down to rejection. Do you want to do something? Not tonight. Don't take it personally, Rachel. They're busy, but I just don't. I don't do much of it. I'm trying to get better at that. And at 51, that's terrible to say. I'm only just trying to work on that. I don't do lots of it. I wait till they invite me in, and I'm like, yeah, I'd love to.
It's quite interesting that, because I won't go up to someone unless I'm in a showbiz bubble, and celebrities, and I use different showbiz titles that I've got. So I was a showbiz editor for 10 years for a radio station. I'm now obviously a senior podcast producer and presenter. That I can go up to a celebrity and that's fine. Johnny Seifert, do you want to have an interview?
Yes.
But to normal people, they have to come to me. I will never go up to them because I'm so scared of that rejection. And it's so funny how our minds work like that.
It's weird, isn't it? Because what's the worst case? What's the worst thing? I say no to people when I can't make things happen. So I don't know what it is. It all goes back to the childhood thing.
100%, and it will never change. My mentality is, if you ignore my message, or you've read and declined me, or it's like you've still not seen me in person, block, delete, out of sight, out of mind. And I will still use that. My blocked list on Instagram and TikTok is longer than the yellow pages. It's
Really?
massive because I get so scared of that rejection. And have you ever gone on a grief journey before? And I'm not talking about necessarily death, but just in general with different types of things that you've had to grieve for.
I mean, obviously, I lost my dad when I was 27. I lost my mum when I was 34. That was really difficult. But there is other types of grief where people are no longer in your life. But for me, it's more the grief of when my mum left, and then again when she passed, and when my dad passed was the biggest grief that I've faced.
And how did you deal with that? What was your grief journey like for your mum and dad when they passed?
So my mum was terminally ill, and she was in a hospice in Ithaca, just on the outskirts of New York. And I knew this was my time to get as much time with her as possible that I'd missed out on all my life. I moved into the hospice with her. I lay on a blow up bed for 8 weeks. I didn't leave her room. We chatted. We even arranged a wedding for my younger sister out by the lake. And then she woke up and said, Ray, don't let me die here. I don't want to die in the US. And I was like, Mum, you've lived here 26 years. I moved hell and high water to get her home to the UK. She couldn't fly. She had tumours in her brain, her lungs, her breast, everywhere. And I sailed back on the Queen Mary. We didn't leave the cabin. Everything was about making up for the 10 weeks that she still had left for the 30 odd years that I hadn't had. And that was my way of making things right for her as well, because I didn't want her to leave this world with regret. That was amazing for me.
What about your sisters though? Because that's you doing it, and it's
Yeah.
like, why do you get the privilege to be at peace? How did your sisters cope with that?
So I flew back for 1 week whilst my eldest daughter was starting her new senior school, and my other sister flew in. It was very much anyone that wants to do that, come do it. But obviously, I had the help at home to be able to leave my children. Mum survived 3 weeks here. She was surrounded by her children and her grandchildren. So I feel like everyone had that time to say goodbye. I just had longer.
And what about your dad?
My dad was sudden. Sorry.
Take your moment.
Yeah. I didn't get a chance to say bye to him. And I know it's a terrible thing, but seeing when someone's terminally ill and when someone is taken from you, the difference in how you feel as to whether you're more at peace with them leaving than me going off and saying to Dad, he was in hospital, and I said, he told me he was cold. So I said, I'm going to run to Marks and Spencer's. I'm going to go and get you some pajamas so you're warm. And when I brought them back, he wasn't alive anymore. And I didn't expect it at all. It was a complete shock. He'd gone in, he'd just gone into hospital, because he was an alcoholic, but I didn't think I was going to lose him then.
What do you wish you... Sorry. What do you wish you'd said to him, if you could?
So much. As much as I put Mum at peace for leaving and choosing a man over us, and I needed her to make sure that she knew I was okay with that. I was all right. I didn't get the chance to tell Dad that he was amazing. For all of his faults, he put us girls as his number one. He's had daily struggles every day, but we were always his priority. And I know, I talk to him all the time when there's a white feather. I go, hey, Dad. He's at the back of my fields at the church. I walk up there all the time because he had a lot of demons, but he just adored his 3 girls.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Let's do a gear change. Let's talk TV. I think we both need a little break. Let's talk Cheshire.
Yeah. Yeah.
Happier things. You joined the show a little bit
Yes.
later on than obviously Dawn, who you've known since you were young. Why did you join the show when you did?
So I was contacted by an email, and it's something that I didn't even think was real at the time. I knew Dawn and some of my other friends were on it, and then I got an email, and I just thought, I didn't really think it was real. And they said, hey, would you like to chat to us about it? And I just thought, oh, I'll just respond. And then they came and spoke to me. But actually, I was originally going to start in season 2. And I didn't actually end up starting until season 6. It wasn't the right timing for the show, and it probably wasn't the right timing for me either. And then they came back at season 6. And part of me thought, is this right for my family? I'm one of these people that, yes, I had a flashy convertible car, but I'd turn the radio down at the lights. I didn't like people looking at me. I wasn't the most confrontational person. I was the one that would hear things I didn't like and get in and rant about it in my bubble. I always felt quite unsettled with people. And the one thing the show has brought out in me is the ability to communicate with people when I think they're out of order. And I'm more at peace now with everyone and everything because of that. Because now I go, what did you just say? Whereas the quiet Rachel before she joined the show would carry all that weight of what I've just heard someone say and never really speak to them about it. and just kind of fade away. But now I've saved a lot of friendships that could have gone the wrong way by saying, can we talk about this? I don't agree what you've said. And it's just so much better to communicate, whether it's tough or not. Communication is key. I'm really grateful for the show for bringing that person out that I never knew was in there.
It was probably in there, but very deep down. And like you say, if you're scared of that rejection, you're scared that if you say something and it goes the other way as intended and it's miscommunicated, then they're going to leave you. And it's very hard to be vocal when you are in that mindset. But when you're on the show, and I suppose it's like me with the microphone, I can talk a lot more confidently when I've got a microphone in front of me. When you've got those cameras around and you know you're in a TV setting, even if you're in your lounge, as soon as you've put the cameras there and you've got your microphone on, something in your brain goes, okay, I can now be Rachel the celebrity. I'm not Rachel at home anymore. Do you notice that difference?
Totally. But what's it's allowed me to do is take that away from the cameras and do the same with my friends, because I only want the right people in my life. Although I don't like rejection, I want to know that the people around me are there for the right reasons. So I will question them and they will question me. And I now want to grow as a person. So although I struggle with rejection, I'm trying to say, listen, if you have a problem, tell me what it is. And maybe I can improve that. Because this is a whole learning thing that I'm going through this late stage in life, where I'm trying to say to people, well, if I'm irritating you, I can't see that I am. But if I am, then you need to tell me, because maybe it's me. So I just feel like I'm growing every day, really. And the show helps that.
How do you balance that character assassination of, if people are saying to you, if you're annoying me and this annoys me, that annoys me, and suddenly they bring out a list of every single critique and it's like shedding every little bit of element of you. How do you manage to make sure that you don't let it get to you?
I try and take each piece and break it down and think, well, actually, you're just being an idiot there. That's not how it is at all. Because I like how I am as a person, I can also, they'd have to be really, really close to me for me to take offense to it. If they're kind of just on the peripheral, I'd be like, well, I don't agree with that, but you might have a point with that. I'll just take each one. And I've learned to care less about what people think and do more of me.
Have you read The Let Them Theory?
Yeah, I have.
I can see.
I got to page 10 and I thought it was incredible. The bit where they talk about seeing a load of people on a girls' trip and you're not there. And that would be me. That would be me going under, being snappy with the children, snappy with everyone, not wanting to speak to everyone. But what that shows you is, have you made an effort with those women? When did you last speak to them? Maybe it's not all them. Did you reach out to them? Maybe they've been meeting for coffee for the last year every week. And it does make you look more at yourself. Yeah, it blew me away, that book.
Chapter 8 about how some people are infants and they will never grow up from 8 years old.
Yeah,
that's brilliant.
That's me.
But when you look at Cheshire, and by the way, The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins, one of the best books I've ever read.
Yes.
It's incredible. When you look at the Housewives as a cast and then the cast members that come in through the series, can you instinctively tell now with your time on the show who will last on the show and who's come in and got the agenda or what the idea is? Because it's different from the American way of it. You know, it's not fight, it's not pulling hair, it's not catty. There's a bit of drama, but some people will come in and give lots of drama and some people will be a little bit more reserved. Can you tell who will work on the show?
I still can't tell, because if you look at me, for example, I was quite a slow burner. I didn't come in with all this toxicity. I was just trying to find my feet. There was possibly concerns about, was I even going to last? But I just think, because I think I'm quite normal, really. I don't think I have this ego. I think what you see on camera is what you see off camera. But when other people come in, I can't tell. I can't tell how the public are going to take to them, how they're going to be. A lot of people don't gel with me immediately, so it's hard for me to judge them until I really get to know them.
But on a show like that, when you're doing these abroad trips and then obviously you go from season to season, at the back of your mind after, are you going, that's why that person didn't come back. Because I was looking at who was it? It was Louise Thompson and Sam Thompson talking last week about Made in Chelsea,
Yes.
and they said they've kind of got an A list, a B list, and a C list. And obviously, it's a bigger cast. It's 30 people, but
Yeah.
when you've got a cast of 8, you've still got Dawn for many years was at the top of the tree because she was the one who's going to
Yes.
bring all that drama. So can you
Yeah.
tell kind of where people are seated in that almost hierarchy when it comes to that? Because you've got 4 sisters. Sorry, you've got 4 sisters. So there's
Three
a mini
sisters. Yeah.
3 sisters. There's a kind
Yeah.
of hierarchy there as well, whether it's the
Yeah.
oldest or youngest, or who brings what type of characterizations to it. So do you feel like there's the same when it comes to Cheshire?
Sometimes you can see you're not actually bringing that much. You're not that interesting. You're just going along with what everybody else has got going on in their life. And for viewers to invest in you as a person, they need to see all aspects of your life, not just you reacting to other people. So yeah, there is that. There are people that I've thought, I'm not actually sure you're bringing enough for people to want to watch and invest in.
And that's the thing. I think, like you said, you were a slow burner to begin with. And I think actually what was beautiful about the way that you came into the show originally was that because Dawn had and Ampika were so big, you needed someone like yourself who's a bit more neutral to come in and just ease Dawn in. If it's you and Dawn shopping in the clothes store,
Yeah.
it's easy because you need that heavier lightness. But as we know with people in life, the loudest people, and I'm not talking about Dawn or Ampika, and I'm just talking about in general, the loudest people are usually the most insecure people, and they're the ones who have so much that they're trying to hide. We saw last series you talk about loneliness, and it's quite interesting that when you're in a group of women as well, that you can feel lonely, even in a big group.
I always say you can be incredibly lonely in a room full of people. You can. And my loneliness really stems from having such a busy household, 5 children, everything that comes with that, their friends coming over, and then slowly they develop their own lives. But it doesn't seem to happen slowly. You suddenly in the nursing chair that's still in one of my rooms from my granddaughter, and you're rocking on it and you're thinking, there's no one home. There's no one home. And it's horrible because I've lived in this house 23 years and they've all grown up here. And every room I come in, I see the Christmases, the toddlers, the friends, the laughter. And then when you're here alone, sometimes all weekend, you think this house shouldn't be this quiet. It's horrible. It's horrible.
So that was the loneliness that happened last series. Then you take a massive series break, and it's not been on for a while, and then you come back. How do you find that change now that Cheshire is back on our TV screens again?
I love the fact that we are back airing again. We've just episodes 1 and 2 have just gone out of season 19. It's a brilliant season, and actually we're filming season 20 currently. So there's going to be 2 seasons this year with lots of fun. I feel like there's more fun and laughter in this, as well as obviously the drama. But it's it's brilliant. So if anyone hasn't realised that we're airing, catch up on ITVX because Ep 1 and Ep 2 is out, and then you're all up to date.
And what's the plan for the 20th anniversary? I want to take over Brian Dowling's job. I want to bring back the reunion shows, and I want to host them. What else can happen for the 20th anniversary?
Well, it's season 20. We had the 10-year anniversary last year, which is where we had all the housewives come back in, which was incredible. Dawn and I jumped out of an aeroplane.
Can't believe it.
I can't believe it either. She'd only just had a facelift, and she jumped
I'm
out
not
of the
saying
plane.
anything.
Yes. So we filmed the reunion in about 3 weeks for the show, which is always interesting. But yeah, it's a great season. People have to watch to see what happens. But you'll see a lot more of my life and kind of my alpha energy and what I'm up to, and the fact that I'm boss bitching.
You turned 50 last year. What has changed for you? Because you feel like you've been on a journey, and I can tell, and I hope you've enjoyed this conversation, that you've been on such a journey where you've had to really be more and more self-aware and find out more about yourself.
Yeah.
When you turned 50, did anything change for you in the way that you look at life and how you want your next 50 years to be?
Definitely far less. I was never really that materialistic, but the stuff is just stuff. I am all about collecting the memories. My twin sister was extremely poorly before Christmas. She had sepsis. She was in and out of hospital. At one point, she was the poorest in the hospital. I had to call my younger sister in America because I thought she was going to have to get on a flight. And when I faced the thought of not having my twin around, because it got to that point, I was like, nothing means anything apart from the time you can spend with these people. And I've always said, you arrive the same way, you leave the same way as everyone. We're all born naked and screaming into this world. The things we collect, we shouldn't judge people on that. And I'm just so much more aware of fake. I'm less tolerant to fakeness. And although I still like nice things, I've just bought myself a lovely nice car because I work hard for it and I'll drive around, and it doesn't mean what it used to mean. It's the memories, and it's the saying yes to things as many times as I can to keep everything up there.
Well, thank you for saying yes to coming on Skin and Skirt. We've not even talked about your Beyond Beautiful Wellness Clinic, but go and check them out on Instagram because it's amazing what you're doing there as well.
Yeah.
And keep making people feel positive. The Real Housewives of Cheshire is on ITVX and ITV2. Go and check that out. Go and watch all the series. It's so good. It's one of my favourite guilty pleasures. But thank you, Rachel, for coming on Skin and Skirt. If you've enjoyed today's episode, there's plenty of housewives in the folder. Seema Malhotra's been on there. Dawn, like I said, has been on there loads. Tanya's been on there. Loads of housewives are on in the Secure and Insecure library. So do go and check them out where you listen to your podcast or on YouTube, and click that follow button so that we can all say it's okay to not be okay. On TikTok, you can find me at Johnny Seifert92, on Instagram at Johnny Seifert at Secure and Insecure Podcast. I'll be back next week with another guest who says it's okay to not be okay. But until then, look after yourselves and I'll speak to you soon.